Hello, this is Robert from DSP Plug. I made a video and I was talking about magnetism and automobiles. In this video, I'm going to take it a bit further. Hello, this is Robert from DSP Plug. With the name DSP Plug, as you might imagine, I think about digital signal processing and specifically applied math, so as to both exert and to calculate digital signal points, float points of data. And once you do that, of course, anything is possible with the right algorithms, with the right data collation, and canonically listed, tabulated so as to be accessed from a database per se. And that makes data entry very simple. At any rate, working with electromagnetism with automobiles is not really a difficult thing. And the exciting thing about making that style of technology in this day and age is that um, data transfer is often encoded. We will often look in our browsers, for instance, and it will say that the signal is secure using TLS normally. Um, and due to that, we're all confident that what we're seeing on the internet isn't being viewed. Well, with electromagnetic pivots placed strategically every square mile, I would say. Of course, it's easier to do things in metric, but nonetheless, a grid can be made down to base 10. That's certainly not an issue. Um, but moreover, with the pivot, which would likely be placed in a large a cavity in the soil with a great deal of concrete and rebar, would be a metal pivot, as I call it, just because of the shape at the top is sort of like a cut off cone. Well, because it's outputting uh, small bursts of magnetism, impulses, in my opinion, theoretically, that would be the best route. The pivot isn't going to face the millions of tons of inertia that comes from the opposing electromagnetic pulse. And that, of course, is the trick. And that, of course, is the reason for encoding the pulse signal so as to only be able to access it with a secure product. I imagine what would really assist in that technology, and both to deter car theft furthermore, would be to have a key in the form of a license. And it would be like sort of like a rectangle, a rounded rectangle that you would put into the steering wheel column as you normally would. And yet, that would also be your license. So both of them would be in tandem, and that would be scanned, if somebody pulled you over. With that, and especially camera systems on board with facial detection, biorhythmic detection, maybe even far as iris detection, and the camera on board would allow this vehicle to be completely secure. And it would certainly enable a North American product because it goes further than that. As long as we know that the product that we're using is a safe, secure one, well, it goes much further, much deeper. And where that goes is electromagnetic engines. It would just turn at any rate that you chose because it would be electromagnetic. In fact, in the way of a motor, there would be almost nothing but a crank. And that's really how simple it would be. It's digital signal processing. As long as you have the electromagnetism available, you can use it. With that simple idea, the reason, the rationale behind making sure that the signal of the magnetism, which I might add, which I think should probably be encoded by military standard. I mean, I think the military should come up with a very unique, dynamic mathematic algorithm, in my opinion, something that is always changing and based upon numerous factors that can be used in a data set. It would be something quite random, uh, driven from a list of possible directives. So, very simple. And with that said, it all has to be so secure because you could even have guns using this technology, right? You could have guns using this technology that could technically send a projectile with the electromagnetism because there would be, you know, at any average time, there would be four of them near you in a diamond formation in some proximity to you. And of course, that electromagnetism it can be employed. It can be employed for anything. So we can keep society safe, and we can have collision avoidance. No engine in the front or back, merely utilizing electromagnetic pulse to move a car, a truck, a train, a bus. All of these things totally plausible. The only issue with the effect on the economy is, of course, that labor is still important. That for fixing them, for that tires are still being used, that batteries are still being used, that steering columns are still being used. It would be a bit tricky. I mean, cars would be around still for a while. It'd be a transition phase, but the fact that it is a North American product allows for something different to be made. Theoretically, it could help the North American economy, especially industry, bounce back, and that sure would be exciting. I buy American products all the time. I'm Canadian, and I know there's some stigma right now of American Canadian. Who cares? Nothing I can do about it. This is Robert from DSP Plug. See ya.